Good evening and welcome to another CanHammer battle report. This one's going to be Stormcast Eternals on Demons of Nurgle. So our opponent is John. So John, why don't you tell us what's in your army
Yeah, absolutely. So I have 3 battle line units. So I've got unit of 20 plague bearers, unit of 10 plague bearers, another unit of 20 plague bearers. Then for my characters, I've got a Great Unclean One, Demon Prince with Nurgle, 2 Heralds of Nurgle. Where's the other one? He's hiding around here somewhere. There he is. And then in my regular other units selection, I've got a unit of 6 drones, a unit of 3 drones, a unit of Nurglings, and on this far side, a unit of Beasts of Nurgle.
Awesome.
And I have taken the for my Great Unclean One and a Taliban formation. Obviously, I think that's sort of an intuitive choice at this point with these guys. But my general is going to be the Great Unclean One. He's going to have the Lord of War command trait, and then he's going to have the Chaos Runeblade as his artifact, and the Demon Prince is going to have a Chaos Talisman to make him Sword of Nurgle, so he gets that extra save.
Awesome. Okay, so playing against John's demons, we have my Stormcast Eternals, which is pretty regularly featured on the channel. Now, I am playing a doubles game. It's 2-on-1 with Phil. So Phil will be accompanying me and using half the army. So what we got in our list right now is we have 4 units Adjudicators right in the back there. We have 1 unit of Liberators, Knight Velexor with the banner to teleport a unit. We have a Hammer Strike Force with the 3 Prosecutors and 2 units of 5 Paladins. Yeah, I know they should be bigger units, but I just don't have them painted. And with John's army being so nice, we had to go full painted for this one. Now our general is going to be this Lord Celestant, who's going to be controlled by Phil. He's pretty cool. He throws hammers from his cloak and he gives +1 to hit. And then of course I will be using the model that I just can't seem to take out of my list, the Celestant Prime, because I love him even though he dies every game and does very little. So we'll see how that goes. We are playing Gift from the Heavens, which is the scenario where a random comet comes down in each side of the board and we have to try to control it. And you get points for each turn that you control it. What turn number it is how many points per turn you get. So it's a pretty interesting scenario because when you deploy, you basically have to put, you have to kind of prepare that it could come down anywhere on the battlefield. And now we're using John's beautiful table that he just finished making. He cut up one of the old Citadel fortresses and put it in there. And this battle report is going to be a voiceover at 4 times speed. So after this point, we're just going to play the game really fast and talk about what we're doing over top of it, because we are at Forbes Hobbies and we can't control the background noise.
Okay, so we're on to deployment phase. We just rolled off there. We got a 6, so it looks like we picked table side and had to deploy first. We put a unit up in the Star Realm. So John, you put your Pop and Nurgle down right there, right?
Yeah, well, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to deploy the Taliban as 1 formation, give myself the option to go first or second, because at this point I realize I can outdrop you. And yeah, so you can see me just kind of putting stacking models on the left side, trying to make sure that everyone's within 21 inches of that Great Unclean One, so I can use the Taliban formation of getting people back. You can a couple of markers that are down there. So the one in your deployment zone is the 12-inch line. The one in my deployment zone is your theoretical max threat range, so that I know that if I deploy everyone back beyond that behind that marker, that they can't be shot at when basically I intend to give you the first turn.
So 29 inches away, because the Adjudicators move 5 and shoot 24.
Yeah.
So you kind of just spread out deployment there, right? You put
Yeah, I'm trying to just spread out across the whole board, because it is I don't know at this point where the comet's going to come down. So I've got to deploy across the entire board to try and jump on it when I find out where it is. So basically everything in my army goes down except for the Demon Prince at this point.
Yeah, so right now people are wondering what we're doing. So Phil is my partner in this game. We're just discussing. He's not really familiar with the army list, which you couldn't tell because he made some wicked decisions throughout the game. But yeah. We were basically, I was just showing him kind of what the list does there. So you saw models come on and off. That's why. And so right now, we've basically, I wanted to put the archers on the board. I kind of knew we were going to get first turn, but I always like having a board presence. These guys spread out just allows me to, when the comets come down, I have units scoring each zone. It kind of keeps John's stuff back, maybe, is my theory anyway. And
yeah.
I just like having, I don't know what it is, I like having 4 units of archers on the board. It just gives me that control. And if you can start whittling these Nurgle models turn 1, you just need to, right? So, because it takes the whole friggin' game to kill anything. So we kind of did even deployment there. We put an archer unit within the objective in each quarter, so wherever the comet comes down, we're good. Then we put 2 in the middle in a hopes that if John pushed at us, we could take a few cheeky wounds off. And then now we're rolling as well for our units that had to come in, because John made us go first. So we're hoping that our prosecutors didn't have to come in, but of course they did. So we're kind of putting them over behind a line of sight blocking piece of terrain, which will allow us to jump up and teleport in if need be.
Yeah, you just saw me move some models. That's when I noticed that each unit has, like the unit of 6 has 2 standard bearers, 2 musicians, and technically 2 champions. So I just noticed at that point that that I had like 3 champions in one unit, or sorry, 3 like standard bearers in one unit. So I just moved them where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, which is no problem.
Without trying to move them around.
So I put a unit of liberators at the top of the screen there, down within 9 inches of the plague bearers. I learned from my game against Wii that liberators can tie up plague bearers for the entire game. Or sorry, those were actually Nurglings. And then
they are Nurglings, and you made the charge.
I made the
9-inch charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty handy. So now I'm like, oh, I don't normally use liberators, but I wanted to use fully painted models for this because John put so much effort into the board. So now I'm taking some swings. But the thing about Nurglings is if you don't kill the whole base, in either hero phase, they get all their wounds back. So it's kind of like a moot point. And they're
it's in the battle shock phase, but it's still the same result. So at the end of it, you either kill the whole unit or the whole model, or it basically negates it. So here's my swings back. Trying to do wounds to you, but 4 up re-rolling the ones was a struggle.
Mm-hmm. So now your turn 1.
Yeah, my turn 1. Basically, all I'm going to do is I'm going to start running units ahead. Push the Demon Prince up on the left flank, trying to get hopefully a charge on some of those Judicators on the left. At this point, I realized that I'd kind of boxed myself in here. I wasn't happy with my deployment of my Plague Bearers at this point because I realized that they're going to have to try and move around that. The angle's hard to see from here, but basically it's a line of sight piece of blocking terrain that looks like a capsized castle wall, but I'm stuck behind it, so I can't really move out very well. So, but I am prepared for wherever the comet comes down. Also realize that those Nurglings will eventually die at this point because you were able to kill one in the first turn. So I now with only 2 of them fighting back, I've got to try and get those Plague Bearers in there to help.
Yeah, well, it's we're kind of going ahead here, but when you move those plague bearers, and I was like, oh, my liberators are gone, but they're actually surprisingly resilient. That 4 up re-rolling ones is pretty good on 2 wound models.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then the comet comes down, and it's right in the middle of the board, which is not. For me, kind of not where I wanted it, because now the drones, which are my main offensive unit, are the only ones close enough to capture it. So I've got to try and stay on it essentially at this point. Demon Prince moves up because I think what happened here was you actually won the roll off and then gave me the double turn.
Yeah, because we were only worried about your Demon Prince, and I was just hoping you'd fail like the 8-inch charge, because nothing else can charge us. Like your Plague Flies need a boxcars, and I was like, I wanted to see where your comet came in before I kind of blew my load and brought my stuff in.
Yeah. So stuff's kind of shuffling around or whatnot, but so anyway, the Demon Prince is in charge range now. He's gonna be able to try and make the jump there. Drones move up to try and capture the center of the table of the board. They're not too worried with the Taliban effect, and 5 up about the shooting, just with 15 wounds and even in a small 3-man unit. So. But here I am. At this point, the comet has come down in the middle, so I'm just going to move those Nurgling, sort of the Plague Bearers all over the place, try to get them around the edge and hopefully help out and at least take part in the battle. And the Plague Bearers on the right-hand side, I've got to try and kill off those Liberators. What you see here is me rolling charge, and I'm in.
Oh, and this hurt me so much.
So, yes. So that is now Demon Princes should kill some Judicators like that. So Demon Prince of Nurgle, 3-up save. He's going to be resilient, and he's got some decent damage output. So
and you had the 5-up additional save as well, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was the item I took for him, was the additional save just to make him more Nurgly.
So you activated your Nurglings first because you were worried about them, and then now we're seeing the Demon Prince. Yeah,
and I think he only killed like 1 or something.
Yeah, he whiffed it, so I was pretty lucky on that part. But you'll see in a minute, not so lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Not so unlucky. I think I was just rolling saves there. He hasn't attacked yet, so you're making a bunch of saves on the other side. I don't think I did anything to those Liberators. They managed to stay there forever. I'm looking at my Demon Prince stats and saying, what is this? What do they do here? But I'm pretty sure the Demon Prince.
I piled in and rolled my attacks, but Adjudicators only have like 5, 4 up, 4 up. I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah. So there we go. So I'm starting to do wounds with the Demon Prince, which is starting to take off some of those shots, which is important.
Yeah.
Take away some of your ranged threat.
So it goes on. It looks like it's going on to our turn. John scored 1 point for his own comment. We're rolling for our reserves.
And look where it comes down, right next to that Demon Prince.
And he can test it, too. So I'm, like, panicking right now. I'm like, we gotta kill this guy. We gotta shoot everything in. So I'm kind of discussing. I'm like, do we drop our load and guarantee the Demon Prince dead and maybe kill a unit? Because, I don't know, I thought it was a mistake that you jumped those Plague Flies up kind of alone.
Yeah.
So we decided to go for it. I think Phil wanted to put everything forward here, and I kind of talked him into putting 1 unit back and 1 forward. Because I was like, there's no way we're killing this prince. I just can't roll that well with Judicators.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of going through our plan here just to see, like, do we put 5? Because we only had 2 units of 5 in the Hammer Strike Force. I have since done 3 units, 1 of 10, 2 of 5. But for this build, we only have so much that we can throw into these Nurgle guys. So we put 1 back conga lined, and the goal with these guys is that if we kill the prince in shooting, we wanted to be able to charge and kind of get 1 or 2 models in to help out and move them up the board.
Yeah.
And then we move all of our archers up over here because we want line of sight to both the Demon Prince and if we kind of get lucky and move forward. And then, of course, our Lord Celestin, who's on the front of the terrain piece there, he's moving in to give everything +1 to hit in combat, which is his command ability. So the Retributors on a 5-6 to hit do 2 mortal wounds, which is pretty friggin' nasty. So
Yeah.
Now we're going on to shooting, see if we can kill this prince. And we really don't do much. We just kind of shoot. Yeah. So those are my 2 archer units.
Yeah, the 3 up save and then the 5 up save against any kinds of wounds. And he kind of shrugs it off.
And at this moment, I'm really glad that we put 1 unit of Retributors back to finish him off. Because if we wouldn't have, we wouldn't have scored any points this turn.
Yeah. I think he actually lives, doesn't he?
He does live through the shooting, and then I charge him. Yeah. And the Retributors, I believe, kill him, but we'll see in about 2 seconds here. So we go in. I decide that I believe, I'm kind of debating, do we fight the prince first or do we fight the flies first? And the prince has way more damage output. So Phil and I are kind of discussing on which one we want to do first. When there's 2 people playing against 1, there tends to be a lot of discussion phase. That John had to sit through, but he was a good sport about it.
Yeah.
So, there we go. Waiting to see, looking stuff up. So we did activate, I believe we did activate, it's hard to tell. Did we activate the middle of the board first, you think?
I think you did, yeah.
I think we did. I think Phil won the argument, which is good because I think it worked out in the end.
And then I killed a bunch of that because I know that I kill those the archers here. The Adjudicators die.
Yes, you finish off the Adjudicators. We go. CCC. Oh, we're fighting in the top corner.
Oh, we're fighting in the top corner now.
So the prince did live this turn then, didn't he?
The prince did live because I remember he denied you the points, and then you were a point behind.
Yeah, that's right. I never caught on to that when I was rewatching the video. So the prince lived. We actually didn't do that much damage in the middle of the board, but our Liberators are holding strong, tying up several hundred points in the top corner. So right now, I think I'm getting very flustered because I'm like, we really did nothing. Like, we blew our Hammer Strike Force, and not a lot happened, which is crazy. But there we go. So finally, so we activated the prince first, didn't kill him, fought up at the top because you already fought the Plague Flies, and now we're trying to kill the Plague Flies in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of holding my prime here because we got the double turn. So I'm debating on whether or not to bring the prime in. So John got his double turn. We immediately got one to retaliate, which we really needed. And now Phil and I are basically in heavy discussion. My point is that I want to bring the prime in now. I want to contest the objective because, John, you made a mistake there where I would have actually right now if I would make my charge, I get in range of the objective. And Phil's kind of saying, let's leave him off and see how this next round goes. And I'm kind of playing, we don't know how the next, like, you know, I can contest John's objective this turn, and we have to catch up because his prince contested. So I'm kind of flustered here going back and forth. And Phil says, trust him, wait till the next turn. So I end up putting my primey away. And we're just going to, you know, try and mop up. And my goal, I think I declared for this phase was, the prince has to die, and that one unit of 2 plague drones in the middle. If we can mop up both those units, then I think we're in a good position for John's retaliation. Because if you move towards us, you're moving off your objective, which is exposing it to the prime. And if you don't, then you're kind of conceding that you're going to be up by 1 point, and then we just have to spend the rest of the game contesting your objective once.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an intense. Thought
so
process.
far in this battle report, I've learned that I need to put bigger magnets in the trees on the bottom.
Yeah, all the trees fall over.
Knocking them over.
So we're basically just trying to mop up these units.
Oh, you killed the beast of Nurgle.
That's right.
In the forests.
With just the unit of prosecutors too, which was pretty lucky.
Yeah,
which gave us more shots.
I tried to run him, and I rolled a 1 for the run move, so part of his base was sticking outside of the forest, so he didn't get a 4 up. He only had a 5 up, and
ooh, that's so ruthless.
Couldn't survive. Yeah. It's not as ruthless as what you do coming up here.
Well, when we finish it off.
What's that?
When we finish off the flies, you're talking about, or the prince?
No. When you a few turns later, when you kill a herald of Nurgle by shooting through the Great Unclean One's armpit. Yeah.
Which I don't feel bad about, because I legit could see it, and I didn't feel bad. But we'll see that when it comes up there. So we're just basically mopping up right now. We're not getting cocky, because we thought we were going to kill that prince. So we're putting as much as we can into the prince and the plague drones, because, you know, we kind of got a little... I would say we didn't get cocky. We played it safe, but we really wanted to clear them off a turn earlier.
Yeah, drones are gone, so... And the prince kind of doesn't do nothing this turn, and this is where I realize at this point he's going to die.
And we're just doing the liberators because, of course, your prince is already attacked, so there's no point. So we're just kind of switching back and forth, doing the smart activations, and then we'll see if I can kill this prince, or I guess it's Phil. Phil's using the retributors, and I believe he rolls like a champion and murders the prince. There you go.
Yeah.
So not bad. We're basically you've had your double turn, we've had our double, and you're up by 1 objective at this point. But it's looking like basically it comes down to, can we contest your objective 1 turn? If we can't, you win. And I think that's...
So this is where I'm thinking. This is turn, and this is where I'm stuck here thinking. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the turn, and that is because I need a double turn. And I don't need the double turn. At some point, I'm thinking here, turn 4 and turn 5, I have to go for a double turn. So, just trying to figure out what I'm going to do here. And basically, I say, that's it, you're going. Because I need to go turn 4 and turn 5 so that I can try and get all my objectives at one time.
Well, no, this is your guaranteed turn. So I think you're thinking the turn later. This is you have to go now, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you had to go.
I'm going to move back, but this is where I've made a decision that on the next turn, this is my turn 3. That in turn 4, if I win the priority, I'm going to give you the first turn. I'm going to and then try. Yeah.
But yeah, so right now you're basically bubble wrapping your objective because you kind of realized your mistake, right? That my prime could have got in there, and now you're basically going 6 inches away everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're moving in. Oh. This I think was the turn of like, you had to play it right. You had to do everything very carefully.
I had to have a few things go my way is what I had to do here.
But you still are winning. You just have to stop us from contesting your objective.
At this point, I'm winning. Yeah, and I know that I'm going to get my points here. Like I'm going to get 3 points on my turn, so I'm going to go. It's going to be 5-3 because you're nowhere near my objective at this point. So basically, bubble up and then try and get a few guys into units. Try to threaten your objective with the plague bearers at the bottom, and then try and see if I can kill the liberators at the top. But it's so I win the priority and let you guys go first.
And of course, Primey comes in, because I can't wait anymore. It's turn 4. This guy's got a ton of attacks. I'm trying to decide whether I want to come in the back or come in the front. And the big debate is whether or not I can get within range of your objective. And so I could, and then you said I declared that they were within 6. And, we're good sports. And we just bumped your models. I bumped your models forward, so people are wondering why I bumped his models there. I bumped him out from the objective so that it was legal. I couldn't contest it by hitting there. And then we're just kind of discussing, like, do we go for it this turn and then see what happens, or do we just kind of put the Prime in alone and see what kind of damage he can do? And so we just spent a lot of time kind of trying to figure out if we can get our Celestant in range, get +1 to hit, and see if we can maybe pop 2 units. So I kind of figure out, I'm like, if I can't get within range of the objective, then I have to come in from the front. And if I come in from the front, I get +1 to hit, because I'll be within 10 inches of my Celestant. And the Prime with +1 to hit, 2+2+, Ren 3, damage 3, he's going to kill a lot of stuff. Now, back there, John has a Herald of Nurgle there, which is kind of blocking me, because I was like, it might be tasty to get that Great Unclean one, but that little Herald there, like, kind of cock blocks me, so I'm stuck looking at the Plague Drones.
And my trees are strategically made to not allow the prince your Prime to be able to go through them.
Oh yeah, I guess you to stop monsters.
Well, they're the sort of regular distribution of trees just to make it look nice. But then after the fact, I was like, oh yeah, monsters don't really fit in here. Yeah,
we have to look into that, because I know that's the legit rules, but we had a few raging in the local tournament over something like that. So now in the bottom corner there, Phil, I kind of realized that John's Plague Bearers could get on our objective, which would guarantee him the win. So we're kind of we're like, those Retributors have to block those Plague Bearers. And if you can't get through 5 Liberators with your Plague Bearers, you're not going to get through 4 Paladins. That's what my thought process was. So right now we're just kind of shooting. We're trying to mop up some characters. I'm shooting. This is where the famous you're going to see us argue over a shot. I shoot through the Great Unclean One's armpit into a Herald that's right behind him.
Yeah,
that's this.
I've since got to put the kind of patch that hole clear. See, Ron's with me. Ron agrees.
No, he said I could see. Didn't Ron say? But like, I wish I had my laser pointer at that time. But I'm like, I can see him, and you know what? Your Papa Nurgle's a little bit big, bud. A little bit big.
Oh, I agree. All right.
I was just like, to me, it was an obvious. Like, I normally don't like to argue, but I was like, it's obvious. And we were losing. I felt like I needed it. So I usually only push for it if I really need it. So I don't really feel bad. Yeah. But it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of shooting, trying to clear his any kind of chaff we can, any of your units, because the more models we can take off the board, the more complete units, the better for us in the long run. Because we really only have 2 more turns to clean up your whole army, basically. Because one model contests your objective, we can't score it. And if you can keep clearing us off of it, because as everybody knows, the Prime isn't that strong, so it's really plausible that you can kill. No, I meant survivable. I should have said survivable. It's really plausible that you could kill him. No, he's strong. When he comes in, he kills a unit. But he's so I actually roll like a ridiculous charge here. And I just charged around the back, touched the Papa Nurgle, because I figured if we can get target saturation back there, I can tie down all his Heralds. That way your Heralds can't move, and tie down my Prime. And that was my goal. I'm like, they're going to die, but if I can at least tie down some stuff. Nurgle doesn't really hit that hard, so it might work. And now we're debating like kind of what to activate first. And there goes the Prime. And that's a lot of saves.
Yeah.
2+2+, 8 attacks. It's a lot of saves. So you're going to see John. He doesn't get armor. It goes straight to his 5+ Nurgle save. And I actually killed 2 Plague Flies, which is actually quite a bit. Most people probably don't kill 2 in one.
That's 10 wounds.
Yeah. So now you're retaliating. Phil's rolling like a champion here. His Celestant basically lives through Papa Nurgle because he rolls like an ungodly amount of 6s. And of course, the Celestant actually hits quite hard when he goes in with +1 to hit, so kills up those Plague Bearers a little bit, trying to get them off the board. And so it's actually kind of looking decent for us at this point. We've done some real damage. We still got one more turn. Like, we're out of range. We've contested your objective and hoping they live, but we still need one more turn to mop you up and kind of get onto it. So we're just finishing up the combat at the top.
Look at all the 5s and 6s he's rolling. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. It's kind of funny. But yeah, Phil's like, he doesn't normally play Stormcast, but today he was on fire with Stormcast, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so now John's turn. Getting near the end of the game. John has to play this right. He has to clear us off his objective. He has to get his points. The Prime, I do believe right now, is wounded as well. Took a few wounds from the Plague Flies.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of hoping he doesn't die. Because I think you did overestimate his survivability a little bit. He definitely dies.
Yeah. Yeah, no, at this point I realize I can try and kill him, but it's the Herald goes in and try to kill off. I think what you're going to see happen here, and I'm not too ahead of myself here, is that the Great Unclean One doesn't do a lot of damage to the what are the flying guys called again? Prosecutors. He doesn't do a lot of damage to them, and basically the game I'm gonna move up here and stuff, but it's going to make it very hard, if not impossible, for me to win at that point. I got to try and threaten your objective here. I don't need to charge you. I just need to get within 6 to try and deny you the
scoring.
The scoring.
Because you're still winning by 1 point, but if you fail to knock us off your objective, then we tie. And then it comes down to whether or not you can contest again at the bottom.
Well, I won't, because at this point I realize it's also turn. It's scored on the turn, on the amount of points you get as what turn it is, right? So you're going to go up on me by a whole bunch of points here if I can't clear off that objective.
Yeah, but from my perspective, I'm like, we have a character, 3 prosecutors, and a prime. I was like, you're going to clear us off your objective. Like I was like,
thought I would too.
I was sitting there like, you're going to kill all of our stuff that's on your objective, and we have to protect our own. So I'm I'm definitely worried about those plague bearers coming in.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, you know, if you have a few, like, hot dice rolls, 20 plague bearers can just live.
Yeah.
There you go. You cleaned up the prosecutors,
but couldn't get the...
No, because, of course, Phil's rolling like a champion with the Celestin, so it's not going to die.
Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't get through it.
Oh, excuse me. And then so Mr. Prime he goes. Still +1 to hit. That's a lot of wounds. That's 8 wounds with 3 damage. Yeah. And that mops up the unit.
Boom. That is the first time I've ever lost that 6 drone unit.
Yeah, he hits like a ton of bricks.
That's not true. I lost it to Jeff too once, but that's it. At this point, I'm like, I can't win because you survived, and you're like, no, you still can. I'm like, yeah, I can't because I can't kill both of these. And then I think what happens is you convince me that the game isn't over, and then I think I get lucky with I win the priority, and I get lucky with a puke roll here, and it actually kills the prime with the Great Unclean One's puke attack.
Yeah, because as I said, from your perspective, that prime, you're like, he's just going to kill my whole army. But from my perspective, he did, but he killed 1 unit. But from my perspective, the prime dies. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he comes in, he kills it. So he did exactly. See, there he died.
Yeah.
But, like...
Yeah, he died to the puke.
I'm 100% okay with... That's what he does. He comes in, kills a unit, and then dies. And I was like, I'm okay with that. That's what he does. But now I'm like, yeah, you got your objective.
Well, he totally got his points back.
Well, how many points is the 6 unit of plague drones?
440.
Yeah, so he got more than his points, which is awesome. But, but it's still... You know, I was like, well, now you got your objective. You're still technically up at this point, I believe.
No, I'm behind. You're behind.
You're behind. And you can only catch us if you can test our objective and score by killing Phil's character here. And I think I can't remember if he dies or not, but I don't think he does.
He doesn't die now. I need him to die now during my turn to score, and he doesn't. And he does in a sort of a moral victory. He'll die during your turn.
But that's too late.
At that point, it's too late. Yeah.
That's also super lucky. Like, if you wouldn't have whiffed against the prosecutors, he would have had another turn of attacks on him. He would have been gone, and you would have had your objective. When you conceded there, I was like, I was actually thinking that I was going to lose the game still, or it was very. I still thought you were in the game, and so.
Yeah, no, I thought I was. I thought, and rightly so, I was right.
You were right, but I think it was tighter than you ever imagined at the end.
Yeah.
Right, like you're still very much like, if those plague bears live in the bottom corner there, if you would have killed that character, of course. It's a moot point now because Phil's character didn't die, but the Celestin didn't die, which is crazy. Like, he's only got 5 wounds, and he lives.
Yeah.
Actually, he has 6 wounds.
Especially since the Great Unclean One. Yeah, and the Great Unclean One does, multiple wounds. And
I think you rolled a 1. Like, it went...
Yeah, I rolled a bunch of ones. I think there was one turn where I didn't do any wounds.
So now we're just basically like, let's mop up the plague bears to make the win a little bit cleaner, I guess you could say, and finish up the game for you guys. So that's basically it. Stormcast win. I felt like I was losing the first 3 turns. I think I was losing the first 3 turns, and then we made a huge comeback, turn 4 and 5. So what's your final thoughts on the game, John?
Yeah, no, it was a good game. I think I made some mistakes. I think when I was looking at it in hindsight, it is hard to play against 2 people, because there was a few times where you got the opportunity to sort of talk it out as to what you were going to do. So, but it was a lot of fun, and I did learn some things. Normally when I play, the drones just don't die. They're just so resilient, but this teaches me that there are stuff out there that can and will kill them. Yeah,
well, I've since pulled the Prime out of my list. One thing that I learned is that I needed more of a punch when I came in. So if I'm going to blow my load with the Hammer Strike Force, I just need to kill those 2 units, which is the Prince and the 1 unit of Plague Drones. So I was just like, I made my Hammer Strike like twice as powerful, because I said, like, I'm going to come in and kill him. Did you make any changes to your list? Are you happy with the way your list performed?
See, the challenge that I've got with my list is from a Nurgle Demon perspective, because they don't have a new Battle Tome, I'm really locked to that model, or that army. I've some things I've given thought to is I really don't make use of my Plague Bearers in an effective manner, and I think it just goes to my play style. So what I want to do is I'm really considering just dropping the Plague Bearers down to the minimum, like unit size 10, and using them to claim objectives, and that'll give me some points, and then taking 5 Beasts of Nurgle instead of just 1.
Okay.
And my big drone unit has 30 wounds with 5 up saves, which is very resilient. And then the Beasts of Nurgle, that would be another 30 wound unit that heals with the Taliban. So it's a lot of wounds all in one, and the Beasts of Nurgle they essentially hit and run, like they can run and charge, and they can flee out of combat and charge again in the same turn. So it'll give me some opportunities to sort of do some extra stuff there. They're not very punchy though, like the Beasts of Nurgle. The problem with, they have a random number of attacks, like they've had in every edition of Warhammer with sort of D6 attacks, but when you have 5 of them, that means you could have 30 attacks, but it could also mean you only have 5.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to be somewhere, obviously, of an average in the middle. But and they're only 4 up, 3 up, no rend, damage 1. So they almost have no punch. But they are pretty quick for Nurgle, because you can run and charge with them. So I'm just looking, but it's a big chunk of wounds.
Like they'll back up your
and they back up the Prince. But they have 30. They have 30 wounds, which is a lot of effort you have to put into trying to kill them.
Yeah, like I kind of like a lot of people don't. Well, I should say a lot of people. I don't see princes very often, and I like when you ran that prince up the flank. I was like, ooh, if we ever played this again, my archers are going to be way back now, because that guy gets the double turn. He's almost on. Your like a board edge charge is like a 10 or something like that, or 11. I forget what it was, because you ran.
Yeah, the princes, when I started looking at them for 160 points, they are great value. They're a monster, but they don't get weaker as they take wounds. They have 8 wounds. With the wings, are movement 12. 4 attacks with a sort of the regular sword, and 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 2, but easily buffable. If you take the because they get the chaos unstoppable destruction. So on a 6 up, you're getting +1 to hit, so it's 2s to hit, 3s to wound. Or if you're like me, I take the Lord of War trait a lot, so it'll make it on a 5. So then they're hitting. They generate a lot of offensive output, and for 160 points, you can put them on a flank by themselves, and they'll really hold their own. And then they can charge multiple units of like. So for example, like the amount of effort, like you had to drop the hammer strike force close to them to kill them. But if I could have, if you hadn't done that, he'd have basically run around your entire board edge killing units of Judicators.
Oh, exactly. Because like if you do the math on that, a 3+, well, like even with Rend 1, it goes to a 4+, 5+, 8 wounds.
Yeah.
That's I got to do like 18, 19 wounds to him, right? And so when you're hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, that's like all my archers for 2 turns to kill him, or 3 turns. And if you're killing a unit a turn, like you're going to get there, and it's a distraction. And I think the mobility
absolutely
really helped you out a lot.
Yeah, and that's where the Nurgle army does definitely struggle, is in its mobility. And that's why we've heard me on podcasts before talk about how vital the drones are to the Nurgle units, or the Nurgle army, because of the reach they give you. And you've heard that from multiple proficient players of the game, that in the AOS that we're playing right now, reach is a big thing, and if your army doesn't have reach, then you really struggle. And that's part of my challenge, is I'm trying to add reach to the army, because I need to be able to get to you quickly, to be able to secure objectives and start killing nuisance units. Like if I don't get across the table to you, your archers will eventually just shoot me off the table.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Well, John, thanks for joining me. Thanks for playing this game. We'll have to get your army on the channel more often, because it's gorgeous and a beautiful table. So it was nice that we got to meet up and record this battle report.
Absolutely.
So if you guys want,
I'm working on Corn Demons next, so hopefully that'll be the next army.
Well, I'm sure it'll look just as good. So if you guys out there want more from us, go to canhammer.ca and like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up and comment below.
Awesome. Talk to you later, guys.